Something I saw this weekend left me speechless. And as a talk show host, you're not supposed to be speechless. An El Paso teacher has been put on administrative leave for telling students to refer to convicted pedophiles as minor attracted persons. Minor attracted persons. Locally, a Rowlett man received 60 years in prison for filming himself raping a 7-year-old girl. Well, triple that number and I'd be okay with it. And it was in this girl's own home. He was a family friend. You know, has it truly come to this? Has the uber left's push to redefine everything under the sun finally gone too far? For me, yes. Yeah, I think it has gone too far, period. With me is Jenna Quinn, expert on child sexual abuse and the namesake of Jenna's Law, which you know here in Texas. Ms. Quinn, thanks for being with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Rick. I'm so grateful to be on your show. And you know what? After hearing about your background, Rick's top 10, and your advocacy on this issue, I think you're going to be my new best friend.
Well, I'm always a phone call away. When I read this, very few things do I go back and read a third and fourth time. I went back, as a former attorney, I went back to see if I missed something in the interpretation. I didn't miss anything. This is the most insane thing I think I've ever heard.
Yes. You know what? I did the same thing too. I'm like, sometimes you want to try to give the benefit of the doubt. Okay, maybe there's some playing with language going on. No, it is exactly the way it's laid out is what happened. Yes.
Calling a pedophile, no, don't call them that. Call them minor attracted persons. I don't know how those people can look in a mirror or even sleep at night.
Yes, there is so much to unpack here, and this is disturbing just on so many levels, Yes, and I applaud the Texas School Board for taking swift action.
Oh, yeah, amen to that.
I applaud them greatly, and even our Texas Governor, Greg Abbott, I'm not sure if you saw what he put on his social media, but I love to echo the words of my governor. He says, quote, "We aren't putting up with BS like that in our schools." So I thought that was great.
I talk to the governor usually a couple times a month, and I don't think a lot of people realize this is a pretty straight-up guy. I mean, if you push him in a corner, he's going to push back. He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks. Now, for people that don't know, because we've got a lot of people that have relocated to Texas, Jenna Quinn is a survivor of sexual abuse as a child. She's the namesake of Jenna's Law. That was passed first by Texas, I believe I've got the year right, 2009?
Yes, that's correct. Governor Perry, our former governor, signed it into law in 2009. Yes, that's correct.
And so far, 27 states have passed it. It passed the Senate, sponsored by Cornyn, I think. However, in the Democrat-controlled House, it didn't even make it to a committee. I got to tell you, does that surprise me? No. Does it disappoint me? Obviously. Tell people what Jenna's Law is all about.
Yes. So our model legislation originally in 2009 is for public schools and charter schools. So as a survivor, I didn't have, the opportunities to disclose. I didn't have the body safety conversations. Not in my home, not at school, not at church, not in any safe place. Nobody was talking about this in a preventative manner. And so out of my experience and out of my mom's experience, so my mom is a lovely woman, and she is an educator. She's taught both public and private, okay? And part of my story is I had every clear warning sign you can imagine. It was just red flags all over the place. But people didn't know what those warning signs were to look for if a child has been sexually abused. So because of that, and because of my own personal experience of years living with this torment and not feeling like I could tell because of the fear and intimidation, Jenna's Law was born. And so what it does then is it trains both the school staff and the students on how to prevent, recognize, and report specifically in relation to child sexual abuse in all of its forms. And so things have really changed a lot. It's not just, don't be alone with an adult anymore. We have so much of this going on online, through trafficking, exploitation, commercial sexual abuse material that's being produced. And so now we're at a point more than ever where we need to train educators on reporting, on how to recognize and report, and give students body safety conversations on how to tell, right, that it's okay, that they didn't do anything wrong. And so essentially that's what Jenna's Law does.
Well, it's something everybody should research. You're also the author of a book, Pure in Heart. It tells the true story of how 16-year-old Jenna broke free from years and years of sexual abuse. And I'd recommend you read it out. It's a tough read because obviously this is someone's being exploited and harmed. But I think the knowledge that you gain from that overrides the momentary problem you may have with reading it. I've got to say, good for you, Jenna. I mean, if you want to get something out there, I know initially you were outraged by this, so was I. And you made this statement as a talk show host for a couple of decades now. I echo that. Language is a powerful tool. And abuse of that language is just as powerful, but that's a whole different topic. We're going to follow this up. And again, I echo your accolades to the school district for taking such swift action. This can't stand. Period. End of story.
Yes. No, that's exactly right. We should have zero tolerance for even considering that it would be okay. And she was specific in using a 5-year-old, a toddler, a 5-year-old, not to judge someone that wants to have sex with a 5-year-old, but I just wanted to, there's so many things to unpack here, so I wanted to clarify a couple of things in the language. So just so that everyone is clear, child sexual abuse is judged in the court of law. Make no mistake about that. And also, for everybody listening, there is no such thing as having sex with a child.
Exactly.
That implies consent. So what we are talking about here is the rape of a child. We are talking about child rape, not sex with children. There's a big difference in that.
No doubt. Jenna Quinn, it's been a distinct pleasure. If you have anything you need to get out there, please, I'm a phone call away. Don't call them pedophiles. Call them minor attracted people. What? They're insane.